Hello everyone, welcome back to the Cricut Pro class. In today's video, we are making some really awesome wooden epoxy photo coasters that you guys are going to absolutely love how awesome these look, especially for your home decor. And I cannot wait to use them in my own home. So I'm super excited to share with you guys my tips and tricks to make these awesome coasters. If you guys are excited, you can see I have all the material right here on the table that you're going to need to make this project. Now be sure to reference your Cricut Die Cutting Pro ebook so you can get all the links and things for this class, but we'll start from right over here and work our way over. You're going to need some type of epoxy. This is optional. Feel free, if this scares you, to change it out for an outdoor Mod Podge or decoupage medium. That will be able to give you the same effect, but epoxy looks really awesome on these coasters, and I'm going to share some tips and tricks to give a really nice finished look that I think you guys will definitely want to take full advantage of. So definitely consider investing in some of this because it will last you quite some time, and it's really awesome. The best that I know of is any two-parters. Some epoxy, once it hits air, it's already mixed and it's ready to go. That sounds like it's really great, but if you want to get the full use out of it, having a part A and a part B you mix together, pretty awesome, and you're going to love it. So for our application for the epoxy, I have 2 paper plates, some mini little cups. I have a tissue paper or a toilet paper roll that we're going to use and share some tips and tricks with that. Some popsicle sticks. You're going to need some printable vinyl. Feel free to just use cardstock if you want to, again, use decoupage to apply it to the coasters. You're going to need 4 if you would like a set of wood to the size of your coaster. These are some pretty awesome coasters. They're 4.5 inches by 4.5 inches, so really awesome. I love this. I chose to go with wood for a more finished look. This is smooth wood that you guys are going to love using. Feel free to also cut your own out of balsa wood, basswood, anything like that as well. You're going to need a matte black paint is what we're using today. And then we have a little area, little pouncer to paint them. And then you're going to need a Cricut of your choice. This is a project that can work in the Cricut Maker or the Explorer. And you'll need your Canon TS8120 printer. That's the printer we use. That's the printer we love. Highly recommend it. It's under $100. So again, you guys are going to love that printer. And we're making a really awesome photo project and taking full advantage of the Cricut to get the best results possible. So if you guys are excited, let's head over to Design Space. So I'm just going to grab my iPad for today's project because I'm super excited to share with you guys how to use your iPad with this project. Now, most of this course has been on our desktop, which I love teaching on our desktop, but for this project, I assume a majority of your photos and things like that are found right here on your iPad. So that is why, or iPhone, because this project will work the same. So your iOS device. So what we're going to do is at first, we're going to talk about our photos. Now I picked 2 specific photos to use for this project. This is a picture of me and my mama, and this is a picture of me in court. So I want black and white photos for this project. Now this photo is already black and white, so I'm quickly going to share with you guys how to easily turn your photos into black and white. So let's head over to this one. We're simply going to select edit, and then there's a little icon right here with, right below that one, sorry. It's like a little timer type thing that you'd have on like a stove. Is how I'm going to explain it. But if you click right here, you're going to see you can lighten it, you can change the color, and then there's a B and W. That stands for black and white. So you can select that and then kind of use this to determine how white or how black you would like it. I sometimes like it over here, so you can just kind of pick and choose. I think it looks better right about that. So you get to kind of scale your photo to the, the black and white that you'd prefer. Then you can select done. So now we have 2 awesome photos that we're going to be able to use for today's project. We are just going to now head over to Cricut Design Space. So I have the app right here. We're on a new project, so I'm going to select upload. And instead of opening uploaded images or browsing files, we are going to select from photo library. So we're going to select this right here, and we're just going to select one of our photos. Now it's going to ask us to clean it up. We're just going to press next. It's going to ask us to redefine it. We're just going to press next. And it's going to think it's a cut image. You're going to want to click right here because that's going to make it a print then cut image. So we can name it Tanner and Court, and then press done. And again, with your printable vinyl, you do want to make sure when you're using this, no laser printers, any inkjet printer will work. Again, we love our Canon TS8120. It's been very handy and awesome for us in our crafting. So it's very, very helpful. So what we're going to do now is just repeat that same process for our other photo. Again, I love being able to quickly craft with our photos that we have. I thought, you know, it would be a great idea for you guys to use your iOS app with, because what I love is that you can print and cut right here on iOS using your printer that connects via Wi-Fi, if you have one like that, like we do with the Canon TS8120, and you're going to be able to do everything from your phone. So it's no emailing photos to yourself or anything like that. So awesome. Now what we're going to do is we're going to size it. So now we know our coasters are 4.5 by 4.5. So if you want a little, you know, edge around it, I'm going to take a 1/4 inch off each, you know, each side from the width and the height. So that is going to make it to go over here under edit, and I'm going to change the width to 4.25. Excuse me, let's go 4.25. And it automatically is going to change that height to 4.25 as well. So now we're going to select this one and repeat the same thing. So it scales those down for us. And notice I accidentally unlocked that. So that means we have to go over here and type it in as well. So now it's scaled properly. We can lock that back. We can have our two images. We can zoom in, make sure they're the proper size, which they are. And now it's going to be really easy for us to click make it. And see right here, we have our pictures ready to go. It is go print, and then it is go cut these. Now, depending on which tray your printer is going to use, depends on where and how you're going to put your printable vinyl into your printer. So we are using our bottom tray. So in that instance, we flip the printable vinyl over because it shoots up and prints. If you are going to use your back tray, you're going to load it with the top facing you, and it's just going to slide right through. I would highly, highly recommend testing this, because let me tell you, each printer is totally different, especially I found on iOS devices. You cannot be too specific on which tray to use. I've had instances where it's used either one. So please, please, please test your personal printer. I would hate to give you direction for something that is not going to work perfect for your printer. So best case scenario, test it yourself and have a lot of fun. So all right, we are going to press print. So now it has popped up the printer, which we have right here. It is going to be able to allow us to print this really quickly. It just totally changed what the preview is. So I'm going to just click cancel and click reprint and make sure it pops up the correct preview. I would hate for a glitch to occur. Sometimes it does, so this is what it should be. And it just changed again, but we'll just press print anyway. I don't think it should be any big deal. So now we are going to just wait, and then our Canon is going to start printing. All right, so the printer quickly printed out our photos. So we're just going to take it right down here and apply it onto the mat. And now we're just going to take our scraper tool and just make sure that our printable vinyl is adhered down onto the mat. Now that we've got that situated, we're going to be able to load it in the machine. And then now we're going to come back to our iPad, and all we've got to do now is select what our material is and then allow it to cut. So now we're going to select our material and click all material, and we're just going to type in printable, and then we're going to scroll down and find printable vinyl. And then we can turn fast mode on, and now we're going to use our fine point blade to press the flashing Cricut button, and it is going to then scan our registration marks and then proceed to cut. All right, the Cricut has completed cutting, so that's perfect. In the meantime, we are going to now get started by painting our coaster. So I'm just going to do a nice black layer across the edges of the coaster. Again, I love this wood. It's super smooth, which is going to be great for our coasters today. It's finished. It's great. I love it. So we're just going to put it down on a piece of paper. And then what we're going to do is just take a little bit of paint on our piece of paper. And first things first is we're going to go around the edges of our coaster. So just take a little, we're just going to paint the edges. This is going to help give you a nice finished look to help with your coasters, especially if you guys want to use these to sell as a gift. I think they're great housewarming gifts. They would be perfect if you know anyone that is getting a new home. You could take some pictures right off their Instagram or Facebook page and create some awesome coasters. So we're just going around the edges right here. And then once you're done going around all the edges, you're going to be able to just sit it down. And then since we're doing that 1/4 inch, you can just kind of go over here and just do the edge again. No need to cover the entire thing if you do not want to. Okay, so we've let our coasters dry. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our photos and just quickly weed out the excess vinyl. So you're just going to pick it up right here and just weed it out, just so it's easier to peel up. You're going to want to think of this like a sticker. So we love using printable vinyl. Now again, guys, if you're using epoxy and you have printable sticker paper, feel free to use the printable sticker paper because you're going to be covering it up with your epoxy. So it definitely is up to you on which one to use. Vinyl is definitely a more durable material, but again, for today's project, if you're doing epoxy like we are, it is definitely not necessary to only use the vinyl. So now we're just going to position our photo down onto the coaster. You can kind of make sure you like the positioning of it and everything. I love it. It's down really well. I think the 1/4 inch is perfect to subtract from the size of your square coaster. You could do the same thing for circle coasters as well, and it would work really well. So you can use your scraper tool. Just make sure it's nice and down. And then we're going to repeat that to our second coaster as well. So we just applied this down. I love, love, love the look of these. They're so awesome. I love the black and white, and it definitely is going to match my home decor perfectly. So again, if you guys have any specific colors, I think these will end up being a great set. Now, if you're not using epoxy, feel free to do 2 to 3 coats of thick outdoor Mod Podge. Now, I do want to let you guys know, when you have a wet beverage on your outdoor Mod Podge coaster, it will be kind of sticky. It will not damage your photo. The cup can sweat and things like that. It will not be damaged, but it will be sticky, and it's just not as elegant and nice finish as you're going to get with the epoxy. So now here's what we're going to do before we prepare our epoxy. So I was telling you guys in the beginning of the video that I want to be able to have a really nice finished look for today's project. So each coaster is going to get its own plate. Now what we could do is just pour the epoxy down and let it go over the edges. But we want to elevate it just a little bit so that we're able to get a nice even coverage on all the edges. So I'm going to use this toilet paper roll, and I'm going to cut about a 1/2 inch to 1 inch of pieces just like so. And you do want them to be at the same dimension. So try your best to eyeball those. So really, we just need to place one right down here and place it on your plate. So now these are ready to go and have epoxy poured on them, but now we've got to prepare our epoxy. So today we're using, again, the 2-part resin. So it's got the A side and it has the B side. This is from Amazing Clear Cast. You can find this at your local Michael's. You can find this at Hobby Lobby. Be sure to use the coupons. This is a very expensive stuff, so you do want to use those coupons. My favorite things to use are some of these little cups that you would find in the bathroom area. They're great. And what we're going to do today is we're just going to take some gloves and put them on because epoxy is serious stuff. So you want to be sure to, take it very seriously. You don't want it on your skin. Definitely don't want it in your eyes or anything like that. So we're just gonna put our gloves on. All right, so every kit comes with one of these little measuring cups. So we're gonna do about 10 cc's on here, or 10 milliliters, up to right here for each part. Only thing you need to make sure that you're doing right with your epoxy, two things. You need to make sure you do even parts of part A and part B, but then you have to make sure you stir it and it's equally combined. So let's just go ahead and take part A right here, open it up, and I'm just going to make sure that we get to 10. And again, I'm holding it up for you guys at the camera, but I will sit it back down onto the table to make sure it's even once we get close to that 10. So there we go. Perfect. We can sit it down and make sure it's at the 10, just like so. And it is. So now we're going to take it and put it in one of our little cups right here. So just take that. Again, you guys do not need much epoxy at all. This is going to be a nice thin coat just to seal in your project and give it that more finished look. All right, so now what I'm going to do is look at the side of our cups, and I'm going to pour the B side in another cup and just make sure it lines up to be even. So now that it's even, what we're going to do is we're going to take the part B and pour it into part A. Once you've poured it in, we're going to now stir this, and you want to look on your epoxy material list and the instructions to decide how long this needs to be stirred. Anywhere from 1 to 3 minutes is usually normal. All right, guys, after you're stirring, you're going to definitely see some air bubbles in your epoxy. That is okay, because what we're going to do is we are going to use a lighter after we pour our resin onto our project to make sure that any of those bubbles disappear before it sets. Because if you let your epoxy set with the bubbles, now a lot will rise to the top on its own, but if there's any big ones, you run a risk of leaving them. So you definitely want to take care of it before you let it sit for those 6 to 12 hours of set time. So now we can just pull one of our pictures into frame, just like so. And now what we're going to do is we're just going to pour just a small amount right in the middle, just like so. And now what you can do is, with your gloves on, you can just kind of work it out and around, just like so. And you may need to add more, but you definitely can do less and then add if needed. I want to try to make mine as thin as possible, but still being able to get great coverage. So I've added some more epoxy, and now what we're going to do is be able to go around this quicker and cover everything. And then I'll give you some tips on how to get around those edges. And epoxy is really good to level out. So if for some reason I have this little area right here that isn't wanting to get covered, so you can just lightly use your glove if you want to even it out. Make sure all your edges are looking good. So I'm going to hold this until our epoxy moves down this edge right here. All right, so this has been covered. Now we're going to sit it on our little tray that we have. And what you're going to want to do now is you can make sure all your edges look good. If there's any, little area that isn't covered, you can kind of take some epoxy on your stick and go around those edges and make sure it's nice and even and everything like that. Because again, I love watching epoxy level out. So I'm just going to go around and make sure it's covered on these edges. Again, I love being able to let it fall off the sides, so you can put a little bit more on there and it will come off. All right, so now that if you're happy with that, what we're going to do is take these gloves off, because I've got epoxy all in on my glove. So just like so. Now we can toss these in the trash, and you've not hurt your skin or anything. So now we're going to just take the lighter, and any air bubbles we see, we are just going to be able to lightly go around the epoxy and work any of those out. So it's really cool. A big tip, you want to keep moving your lighter rapidly so that you do not burn your epoxy. So just like we're doing here. So now if you're happy with this, you're gonna let this sit and dry for 24 hours. You do not want to come and touch it too soon, so definitely give it way more time. If you feel like anything is going to damage it, if you have a craft area and you're prone to work with glitter, if glitter touches this 2 hours afterwards or anything like that, it will be stuck in there. So cover it up with a box. A lot of people like to do, in an area that your kids won't be messing with or anything like that. So now we're just going to repeat this same process to our other coaster. All right, guys, so now you're gonna let that sit for 24 hours. Feel free to use a cake dome or anything that is going to protect it from dust, debris, the kids, yourself, anything like that for 24 hours. After you come back 24 hours later, those are gonna be looking fantastic and you're gonna be ready to use your brand new epoxy coasters. I hope you guys enjoyed this class and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.